So I'm teaching in the Kinsale campus, which is a sister campus to the Cork-based one that Daniel was talking about. So Kinsale, you can see it there on the map. It's south of Cork City, so it's about a 30 to 40 minute drive from the campus where Daniel is teaching. It's a very scenic town. It's a very tourism plays a very important part of the economy of the town, and historically it's quite significant as well. And it's a small, compact town, and the Kinsale campus is located here. So, and in terms of neighbouring towns, rural towns really, they're all about a 50 to 30 minute car journey from Kinsale. And because the town is quite a tourist town in terms of students getting to and from the college. In the past, it wasn't such an issue. There was a lot of accommodation options in the town because there was a lot of holiday homes that would have been occupied during the summer months, which would then become vacant in the winter, which is when the college term runs. So there was a lot of available accommodation for students. But now with Airbnb, that option has kind of evaporated. It's no longer possible. So students are now living, they're far more dispersed. And given the rural location of Kinsale, most students rely on their own cars or carpooling. So like the issues around sustainable transport is kind of interlinked with the issues around like sustainable accommodation. There is a bus service, like there is a public bus service from Cork to Kinsale, but it's quite expensive even as a student. I think a daily return ticket will cost you like at least €10, if not more. And then there is a public bus service too from the town of Bandon here to Kinsale, which students can use, and there's another one from Clonakilty to Kinsale, but it only runs once a day. So again, it's quite a limited in its sustainability really. Within the college, then we have the college has 2 minibuses, and each bus can carry 16 passengers, and some of the staff have a license to drive the buses. So we use those as much as possible for field trips and excursions that the students, that we might bring students on. So that does cut down on emissions and the reliance on private cars. And this is just an image of the staff car park, which is it's always full to capacity. It's always it's too small. Like there's about 30 teaching staff, some part-time, some full-time, but it's always the space there is very, very limited. And 2 years ago we installed an e-charging point. So if staff members do have electric cars, they can charge the electric car at work. But currently, there's about 30 staff, and there's three staff members use electric cars. And then staff would be, they're travelling from all different parts. Some have very long journeys, and there is really no public transport option for them. So just moving on to the biodiversity side of things, like Daniel, I teach on the horticulture. There's a horticulture course in Kinsale campus. So it kind of gives, it's a bit of an advantage when it comes to biodiversity because we can focus. It might be easier than for other courses like computer or office-based courses, where we can do very practical activities to support biodiversity. So these are just images of landscaping within the college using wildflower mixes, which are all there to support pollinators and native insects. And these are often designed and implemented by the students as part of their studies. One of the highlights of the year as well, that as part of the horticulture course, we organise a public plant sale every spring. And all the plants are chosen and grown by the students. And then in April, sort of coming towards the end of the year, we open the college to the public, and the plants we choose and the plants we grow are all based on their ability to support pollinators and wildlife, more than just strictly ornamental plants. And it's also a really good opportunity for the students to meet with the public and members of the community, and share their knowledge about the benefits of choosing pollinator-friendly plants and biodiversity supporting plants. To have those discussions with enthusiastic gardeners in the locality. And then we also do, this is just images of students again implementing planting schemes within the college, using those plants that we grow on site. And again, the focus of those planting schemes is wildlife supporting species or edible species. We also recently installed swift nesting boxes at the college. So the swift is a migratory species of bird that visits Ireland in the summer months and returns to Africa, tropical parts of Africa in the winter months. And it's recognised as an endangered species in Ireland. And a lot of that is down to it likes to nest. In recent decades and centuries, would have been abandoned buildings. Old derelict buildings would have been a popular nesting location. But a lot of these buildings are no longer available. So and they nest in colonies, which is why the boxes have they have 3 separate nesting sites on them. And that's to try and encourage. There's already populations in Kinsale, and this is just trying to create additional habitat for them. Another activity we do is it's done by the students, but we collect native seed from native trees and shrubs. So we go to local woodland and various different locations where we try to collect seed from Ireland's native species of plants, and we propagate them. So this is just from a couple of weeks ago, but we collected oak and hazelnut seeds, and we propagate them at the college, grow them on for 2 years. So this is students in the spring moving on in this case it's hazel being grown on from seed into seedlings, and then depending on the project, we also establish hedgerows. So the hedgerow is a particular type of habitat. It's very, very typical of the Irish landscape, but they're planted field boundaries. And they're a very important habitat for, Ireland lost an awful lot of its native woodland. So hedgerows are really important as a habitat for our remaining tree species. And they're in decline as well. A lot of them are being removed. So every year we try to establish new hedgerows, and with a mixture of trees produced at the college and trees that we purchase from local growers as well. We also do habitat surveys. So we assess local habitats every year. So this is a woodland just north of Kinsale, but we'll be doing that shortly after returning now from Germany. But it's a particular type of woodland, but every year we conduct habitat surveys where we identify the various trees and plants living there, and we develop these habitat maps, which are based on the National Habitat Survey and Classification System that's used in Ireland. So students get to appreciate the type of biodiversity and habitats that we have. And then just finally as well, we with the second year group, we also do what's called hazel coppicing. I'm not sure how common that is in Germany, but traditionally it was the traditional way of woodland management, which has almost now completely ceased to exist. And just travelling in here on the train this morning, you can see lots of deciduous woodland, really, really nice. It's almost non-existent in Ireland anymore. like forestry in Ireland is dominated by commercial forestry, which is often, very, very species poor, whereas this traditional method of forest management uses native species, native deciduous species, and when it's done properly, it enhances the overall biodiversity value of the woodland. So we know a couple of relatively local landowners who allow us to do this on small pockets of woodland that they have. So thank you very much. That's kind of just an overall